Hello and welcome to another lesson about Beaufort's license and subscription app, embedded in Microsoft Dynamics 365 for finance and supply chain, otherwise known as finance and operations apps. So the topic of this lesson is subscription cancellations and reversals. I'm going to show you some of the capabilities of the system. So of course I can't show you all of the different scenarios that we support, but I think I can show some key scenarios which give you a good idea of what can be achieved. So this is the finance and operations client in the browser. I'm going to browse to subscription management in the subscription management cockpit. Here I'm going to filter for my customer and create the first subscription plan for this lesson. I'm going to select my program type, ensure that I'm creating a per unit subscription, and I'm going to select some scheduled revenue recognition there, and I'm going to create a yearly plan. So that is my subscription plan. To use the revenue recognition features as per the documentation, we have to convert the plan into a contract, and we do that by going into our renewal options, setting a global start date, which is the 1st January 2021 in this case, and I'm going to create one cycle with self-renewal. So that's the definition of my contract. Now I will create a line with this license, which is €100 per month, and we have revenue recognition there, which is €1,200, or US dollars in this case, which is of course my 1 year contract revenue recognition. Okay, so I've had some automatic add-ons here generated, which for the sake of this example I will delete. I'll go ahead and publish this subscription and run the master process. Okay, so that is my action for my sales order invoice. I will firm it. The action is now firmed, and now I will post this action. And my action is now posted, and in terms of cancellations, we can do cancellations on the header and also cancellations on the line level. So in this case we'll go ahead and cancel the subscription plan from the header. I can decide here to use any reason code. It defaults with the default cancel reason code, which I configure, but if I'm really sure that I want to churn the subscription plan, I can select the use churn reason code, and there it defaults to churn. Of course, you can be cancelling a subscription plan maybe because you created it by mistake, the subscription plan. In that case it's not churn, or maybe if it's real churn. In case that you use the churn reason code, you'll also have the option to do a reversal. So you can cancel but also do reversals, and reversals means that you will reverse the invoice and also reverse any revenue recognition. But for the sake of this first example here, I'll just leave it as that and click OK. So I've just cancelled my subscription. And here we have a toggle to show the all subscription plans or just the not cancelled. So now I'm seeing go, and as you can see here now the status of my plan is cancelled. So now let's remove the toggle again and create a new plan for the second example. So in the first example we've seen a plan level cancellation without reversal. So now let's go to the second example. Let's again create a per unit subscription. We can select schedule recognition and yearly billing period. That's good. Again, I'll select my renewal option starting on the 1st of January. I'll do 3 cycles and I'll switch off the renewals. So now I can just create my plan line there. Again, there's my code license. I have 100 per month, $100 for my 3-year contract. That's $3,600 of revenue recognition. Hit OK. Again, I'm gonna delete this automatic add-on there. I don't need it for this example. And I can now do as before, publish my plan and run the master process, firm my action which is generated and post it. And now let's go to the historical tab. Since we have a contract and we have revenue recognition, we can notice as well that we've linked a journal to the action, and that is for the posting of revenue recognition. So if we refresh our audit trail, so this is the standard Dynamics 365 Finance audit trail here in this case, and there is our sorry, not this one. I want to go to the last voucher here. And there we have our invoice for the first year. And then we have €100 movement from balance sheet deferred revenue to product sales. Less some rounding differences there. So this is our first posting. So customer against deferred revenue, and then deferred every month there's the deferred revenue to the customer, to the P&L revenue, and that is because we have a schedule here which is 33.3%, which is 1 year, and it has the post per month flag, which means that the posting is done or accrued over a monthly basis. And this is the scheduled recognition. Okay, so this is another feature which we covered in a previous lesson. So if you're not sure what all this is about, what I'm showing here, then you should refer to the previous lesson. So let's go back now to our subscription plan. So again, let's assume I need to cancel this subscription plan. So I'll just do that. I'm going to use the churn reason code. I'm going to cancel with reversal, and now I'm assuming that this is going to be a cancellation which is applicable from the 1st of July. So maybe it's the 1st of July, and the customer called, or there was an agreement with the customer that this subscription plan will churn. But not only will it churn, but also we need to credit the customer for the money charged already for this period. So again, like in the previous example, we just cancelled. So in that case, it was just purely cancelling the subscription without reversing any recognized revenue and without giving any credit notes. In this case, we're going to just also, besides churning out the subscription, we're going to also process the reversal. So there I've hit OK. the subscription is cancelled. And now if we go back to our audit trail, there's a new audit record there. And as you can see here now, there's a credit note processed. So my debtor account has actually been credited for the credit note, right? So usually this is a debit, but in this case it's a credit because it's a credit note. Deferred revenue was hit on the debit side, while usually it is hit on the credit. And then there's been the reversal of that $99.99 we did for the revenue recognition. So you can here already see the power here of the solution where just by reversing and saying cancel and do the reversal, it did automatically all the postings for us. It did the postings for the credit note and the posting for our reversal of the revenue recognition. All seamless, hassle-free, all automated. So if we now go to the second subscription plan, we see that now the status is actually not just cancelled, but cancelled with reversal. And of course this is important from a reporting perspective, because we like to know, of course, that what was cancelled but not reversed, and what was cancelled and reversed, because a cancellation with a reversal is actually worse than a cancellation, because they were not only churning out on the subscription, but we also have to process a credit note, a refund, and also that hits our recognized revenue. And on the action level, again, you can see that we have a credit note there. So the sales invoice actual reference is a credit note, and again there's the journal which reversed the revenue recognition, just like we saw. So that is the end of this example, which I'd like to show. I also want to show a different example now. So in this case we've been crediting something in the middle of its cycle, so the yearly cycle, remember, 1st January till 31st December, and we cancelled and reversed 1st July till 31st December. But I also want to show you that the system is smart enough to recognize as well cancellations which are outside the cycle, so to speak. So we have like maybe 2 cycles which already been invoiced and revenue recognition generated for maybe the first year, and we do reversal in the middle of the 2 cycles. So let's remove the toggle again, create a new subscription plan, and I can create again the scheduled recognition. I'm gonna do this in this case quarterly billing. Yeah, that should work. Yes. So we'll do our renewal options. We'll start on the 1st of January just as before, and this time we need 12 cycles to achieve 3 years. Yes, so we need actually so we're quarterly, so there are 4 quarters in a year, so 4 times 3 is 12. Yeah, so 12 cycles, that's fine. So that's the definition of our contract. Now we'll go to the plan line. I'm going to use the same item as before. Sales price per month is 100, and again, since we totaled the contract of 3 years, again it's the same amount, $3,600 like in the previous example. The only difference is now that we're doing quarterly billing. So So now again I'll get rid of my automatic add-on, which is not needed in this case, and I can go ahead and publish my subscription plan and run the master process. So remember, now we're doing quarterly billing, so the date from and day 2 of the action cover 1 quarter. So I'll go ahead and firm this action post. So now I've invoiced 1 quarter, and what I need to do now actually is move my test date to invoice the 2nd quarter. So I'll move my test date to the 1st of April. Again, this is always the same disclaimer I mention in each and every video. If you're gonna use the test mode, make sure, please folks, that you don't use it in your production environment. And so that is now moved, so I can run the master process and process my 2nd quarterly cycle. Again, you have processing for the 2nd cycle. Here the billing, I will firm the action and post, and there I processed billing for the 2nd cycle. And as you can see here, please pay good attention to this part, it's important. My schedule is actually configured to do revenue recognition on the 1st cycle, and then after that on the 5th cycle. So as you can see here, on the 1st cycle we have a journal which is 938. So this was the 1st cycle, right? 1st January till 31st March. And the 2nd cycle, there's no journal because no revenue recognition was configured on our schedule for the 2nd cycle. So again, if I refresh my voucher, there I can see that my 1st cycle had revenue recognition transactions posted across the quarter, right? While the 2nd one had only the invoice. Okay, so if we go back to the 1st posting, actually don't forget that I have on my schedule 33.3% of the contract value. So that is why the revenue recognition in this case is actually higher than what was invoiced. So I'm recognizing 400 while in reality I'm only invoicing the customer 300. Okay, actually it's 400. So let's see what's happening here. So I have the 400 in the 1st month. Oh yeah, because actually in this case I have this post per month flag switched on, which maybe I shouldn't have left it switched on for this example, but basically it worked correctly because in total it recognized $400 3 times, which is in a total of $1,200, and $1,200 is 1 year, right? So it recognized $1,200, which is 1 year's worth of revenue recognition, but we actually invoiced the customer for 1 quarter, which is $300. So that worked fine. Now, the example we are trying to achieve in this third example here is that we will do a cancellation which starts from the second billing cycle onwards. So let's say that we need to cancel from the 1st of April onwards, right? While we leave the 1st of January till the 31st of March intact. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to cancel the subscription. I'm going to say it's churn. I want to cancel reversal, and I want to start from the beginning of the second cycle, and I'll do the cancellation. So now I can toggle the cancelled actions, and here again, as we can see, there is my credit note. My credit note only covers my second cycle, remember, because I cancelled from the second cycle onwards. So from a credit note point of view, it worked correctly. It's credited the customer only for the second cycle. And from a voucher point of view, let's refresh our audit. We can see now that it created a separate general journal, which actually is going to reverse the revenue recognition for that year. So let's see. So our credit note is there, and then in this case we have 300 for quarter 2, 300 for quarter 3, 300 for quarter 4, which is the total revenue recognition we expect to be reversed. And again, since we started from the second cycle onwards, the revenue invoiced and the revenue recognized for the first quarterly cycle has not been touched. It remained there intact and not reversed at all, right? So the system behaved correctly. Again, as you can see, this automates a lot of manual work when it comes to credit notes and reversal of revenue recognition for your company. So again, for me, this is the pinnacle of the automation we can offer from a Lisa point of view. Okay, so that's another scenario. So just to recap, that's the third scenario I've demonstrated. What now I'd like to show is that we can achieve the same things that I just showed in the last three scenarios, but on the line level. So I'll quickly point out how to do that. So again, I'll remove my filter. I'll create a new subscription plan. So let's say it's going to be again scheduled recognition on a quarterly basis. Okay, I'll convert it into a contract, just like in the previous example, again starting from the 1st January, 12 cycles, which means 3 years. And then I'll create a new plan line, exactly like before, $100 per month, 3,600 in total. I will delete the automatic add-on and I will publish the subscription plan. I'll set this on the 1st. So this part is exactly the same as before, right? So that's why I'm rushing through it. So, oh my, I selected the wrong dates. So let's just go ahead and delete this line and check renewal options. I meant to start on the first. Recreate our line. Again, that's good. Publish. Run the master process and firm the action and post the action. Then we'll fast forward to 1st April from our test date, and once again repeat the process. And now it's firmed the second cycle and posted. So okay, now comes the different part. So before I was using the cancel button at the header level, if you might recall in the previous examples, but there could of course be scenarios where you want to keep your subscription plan or your contract alive, but only process cancellations and reversals from the line level. So if you do it on the header and you have multiple lines, all lines in your plan and contract of course will have to be cancelled because you are cancelling the header, and reversals will be processed for all the lines within that contract. But if you want to do that on the line level, this is how you do it. So you'll have to go to functions, and then you will say apologies. First you have to unpublish your subscription plan, of course, and then you'll have to say activate, deactivate. In this case it's a deactivation. And again here, as you can see, we have to select our reason code. We can say this is an error, right? So I've created this line in error. In that case you can't do any reversals because it's an error. But you can say it's churn, depending of course on the reason code configuration you've done, and if it's churn, then you are able to do a cancellation with reversal. Please keep in mind, this is very important, that if you're going to cancel a line with churn or with a reason code which is officially demarked as a churn reason code in the parameters, then you will not be able to reactivate this line. Okay, irrelevant if you did cancel reverses or not. So if this is just a temporary deactivation, maybe because you want to skip the billing for a specific cycle, if it's a temporary deactivation and you plan to reactivate the line, then do not select a reason code which is pointing to a churn reason code, because then the deactivation is not reversible, so to speak. You cannot reactivate. In fact, we'll even get a warning message for this when that's the case. So I'm going to cancel with reversal, and now this is available. So in this case I'm going to cancel and reverse everything from the first billing cycle onwards. So remember, before it was from the second billing cycle onwards, and now I'm going to reverse from the first billing cycle onwards. And we'll see. So there's the deactivation and the cancellation reversal. I will click OK, and this is what I was talking about before. Since I selected a reason code which, according to the parameters here, that's here, you see churn reason code is this reason code, then I will get a warning message, hey, this action cannot be reverted after it is done. Are you sure you want to disable this line and all related lines? Yeah, of course it mentions the all related lines in this case, because there could be add-ons, right? So in the case of add-ons which are linked directly to this line, if you deactivate this line, you're essentially deactivating also all the add-ons linked to that line. So I'll click yes, and what we'll see now that the plan in itself remained in a draft state. Okay, so the plan was actually not cancelled, it remained, but our line disappeared here because it was deactivated, and if we would like to see the line come up again, we can say show all, and there is our line. So essentially this is the same concept like what we have on the header. So that gives you a good idea about how this functionality works also on the line level. So something to note, which is important, of course, that in this case we're leveraging in our contract and plans the features of the scheduled recognition, which are linked to our billing posting profile. So we are able to support revenue recognition reversal, in this case only if we're using revenue recognition or our accrual scheme features. In the case that you use the revenue schedule of standard Dynamics 365, of course, in that case we can still do reversal of the credit note, reversal of the invoicing via the credit notes, but in that case, if you've done some special revenue recognition from there which is not captured by that process, by the reversal of the credit note, you'll have to see how to process there the reversal of revenue recognition. But of course, from Lisa we always create standard credit notes via sales order. So if your revenue recognition module is configured as such that the process for reversal of revenue recognition can continue from the standard Dynamics 365 revenue recognition module, then that will work as well. So keep in mind that the reversal options I've just shown you, they can reverse revenue recognition only if the revenue recognition transactions themselves have been generated using Lisa features, which are the post-accrual scheme here and the schedules here, while of course if you're using the standard Dynamics 365 revenue recognition, then the reversal of revenue recognition depends on standard Dynamics 365 features, so to speak. So it's not impossible, of course, it's still possible to achieve reversals, but that's a configuration which needs to be done in that module and not here in Lisa. So I hope that with this lesson I gave you a good overview of the Lisa capabilities when it comes to cancelling subscription plans and contracts, both on the header and line level. I've also showed you what we can do in terms of reversing invoices, customer invoices, and also reversing revenue recognition for your plan or for your contract. And I've also showed you how the system smartly recognizes actually how that you are, for example, in the middle of a cycle or in the middle of two cycles, and if you've something you are not reversing, so if there's some revenue which you are not reversing, it reduces it from the total revenue recognition which is reversed, and only reverses the revenue recognition for the period which is under the fence of the cancellation. And of course, I hope you appreciate it. What a lot of time and effort this will automate for your finance team when you are handling reversals and cancellations in your contracts. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to get in touch with the Blue 4 team, who are always happy to help. Thank you.